Welcome to Saving Castles, the podcast for castle and chateau enthusiasts. Join us as we explore the fascinating history, stories, and culture of these awe-inspiring structures, from the legends and folklore to the latest in restoration. We'll cover it all, so whether you're a seasoned castle aficionado or just discovering the magic of these magnificent buildings, this is the podcast for you. So grab your headphones and let's dive in.
Welcome to the Saving Castles podcast, where we uncover the fascinating stories behind the world's most famous castles. In today's episode, we delve into the hidden treasures and untold tales of England's ultimate stronghold, Warwick Castle. Nestled along the banks of the river Avon, Warwick Castle boasts a rich and complex history that spans nearly 1,000 years. Once the seat of the powerful Earls of Warwick, this medieval masterpiece has stood the test of time, playing a vital role in some of England's most tumultuous periods. From its strategic importance during the Norman conquest to its role in the Wars of the Roses, Warwick Castle has seen it all. But beyond the walls and imposing fortifications, there are countless secrets waiting to be uncovered. As we venture deeper into the castle's chambers and hidden corners, we will discover a world of intrigue, drama, and hidden treasures that have remained concealed for centuries. Throughout this episode, we will shed light on Warwick Castle's lesser-known stories, examining the lives of the illustrious figures who called this fortress their home, the significant events that unfolded within its walls, and the artifacts that reveal the true scope of its historical legacy. So, grab your torches and gather your sense of adventure as we embark on a journey through time, immersing ourselves in the rich tapestry of history that is Warwick Castle. Be prepared to be amazed, captivated, and inspired as we explore the untold stories of England's ultimate stronghold. Our journey begins in the year 1068, a mere 2 years after the fateful Battle of Hastings that forever changed the course of English history. With William the Conqueror now firmly in control of the English throne, he set out to establish a network of fortifications across his new domain. Among these was Warwick Castle, strategically located at the heart of England and poised to solidify Norman rule. The castle was initially built as a wooden motte-and-bailey structure on the orders of William I. This primitive fortification was intended to serve not only as a display of Norman power, but also as a vital defensive position. For at its core, Warwick Castle was designed to be an impenetrable fortress, one that would serve to quell any uprisings, keep ambitious local nobles in check, and ultimately secure the Norman presence in England. The task of constructing and governing this important stronghold fell upon the shoulders of Henry de Beaumont, a trusted and loyal ally of the Conqueror. As a reward for his support during the conquest, Henry was granted vast estates and the prestigious title of Earl of Warwick. It was under his rule that Warwick Castle began to take shape, transforming from a rudimentary wooden fort into a formidable stone stronghold. As we delve deeper into the story of Warwick Castle, it's essential to understand the political and social climate of the time. In the years following the Norman conquest, England was a land divided. The native Anglo-Saxons found themselves subjugated by their new Norman rulers. Tensions simmered and the threat of rebellion loomed large. In this volatile environment, Warwick Castle's strategic importance cannot be overstated. Its central location put it within striking distance of key transportation routes, allowing for swift and decisive military action should any unrest arise. Furthermore, its proximity to the river Avon provided an additional layer of natural defense and facilitated the movement of troops and supplies. But even in its earliest days, Warwick Castle was more than just a bastion of military might. It also served as a symbol of the power and authority of the Earls of Warwick. Under their watchful eye, the castle expanded, both in terms of its physical size and its influence over the surrounding lands. The Earls of Warwick, now firmly entrenched as one of England's most influential noble families, would continue to shape the course of English history for generations to come. As the seat of the Earls of Warwick, the castle's prosperity and prominence grew alongside the fortunes of its inhabitants. Over the centuries, the castle changed hands through inheritance, marriage, and political manoeuvring. As each successive Earl of Warwick left their mark on the castle, it evolved into an ever more grand and imposing stronghold. One such earl was Thomas de Beauchamp, who took up the mantle of Earl of Warwick in 1330. A highly respected nobleman and military commander, Thomas was a key figure during the 100 Years' War. His tenure as Earl was marked by significant expansion and improvement of the castle's defences. Under his leadership, the castle's formidable stone walls were reinforced and its towers were heightened, including the iconic Caesar's Tower. Thomas's son, Richard de Beauchamp, followed in his father's footsteps and continued to invest in the castle's development. As a prominent figure in the 15th century, Richard served as a guardian for the young King Henry VI and played a critical role in the War of the Breton Succession. His tenure saw the construction of the castle's opulent residential quarters, which reflected the growing prestige and wealth of the Earls of Warwick. But perhaps the most significant transformation of Warwick Castle came during the time of Richard Neville, better known as the Kingmaker. His machinations during the Wars of the Roses would cement his place in history, and his influence would leave a lasting impact on the castle itself. The Beauchamp family's tenure as Earls of Warwick would usher in a period of unparalleled growth and prosperity for the castle. Among their many contributions, perhaps none is more impressive than the construction of the Great Hall. This architectural marvel, completed in the late 14th century, served as the beating heart of the castle and the epicentre of life for its inhabitants. Adorned with ornate wood carvings, vibrant stained-glass windows, and a grand fireplace, the Great Hall provided a stunning backdrop for the lavish feasts, celebrations, and meetings that took place within its walls. The Beauchamps, known for their love of pageantry and grandeur, would have hosted many an illustrious guest in this magnificent space. It was within the Great Hall that the Earl would have conducted the business of the castle, administering justice, collecting taxes, and meeting with his advisers. It was also here that the Earl would have entertained visiting dignitaries and cemented his position as a powerful and influential figure in the realm. However, the Great Hall was not merely a space for pomp and ceremony. It also served a practical purpose, housing the castle's garrison and providing a space for the inhabitants to gather during times of danger. Its sheer size and impressive design made it an imposing symbol of the Earl's authority and the might of Warwick Castle. As we continue to explore the untold stories of England's ultimate stronghold, we will soon discover how the castle's strategic importance and impressive architecture would be put to the test during one of England's most turbulent periods, the Wars of the Roses. The Wars of the Roses, a series of dynastic battles that raged between the rival houses of Lancaster and York from 1455 to 1487, marked a turning point for Warwick Castle. The Earls of Warwick once again found themselves at the epicentre of English politics as the castle became a stronghold for their shifting alliances and ambitions. Initially, Richard Neville, the 16th Earl of Warwick, was a staunch Yorkist supporter, instrumental in securing the throne for Edward IV, the first Yorkist king. The Battle of Northampton, a key engagement in the conflict, saw Warwick defeat the Lancastrian forces and capture the hapless King Henry VI. The victory established Neville as a major player in the ongoing struggle for the English crown. But as the winds of fortune shifted, so too did the alliances of the Earl. When Edward IV's marriage to Elizabeth Woodville and his increasingly independent rule alienated Warwick, the once loyal Earl forged a new alliance with the Lancastrian Queen, Margaret of Anjou. This betrayal was a significant factor in the renewed hostilities between the warring factions. As the tides of war washed over England, Warwick Castle stood as a bastion of power and influence. It provided sanctuary to those fleeing the chaos, and its strategic location made it a prize to be won and lost as the balance of power seesawed between the rival houses. Warwick Castle's formidable defences and impenetrable reputation were put to the test in 1469, when Edward IV, the king that Warwick had once so ardently supported, found himself held captive within its walls. Warwick's change of allegiance, fuelled by bitterness and ambition, had resulted in a dramatic reversal of fortune for the Yorkist monarch. Imprisoned in a tower now known as Kingmaker's Tower, Edward IV was subjected to an uncertain fate. Stripped of his power and confined within the castle's imposing stone walls, he could only watch as the Earl of Warwick orchestrated his downfall. The once powerful king became a pawn in Warwick's ambitious schemes, a humiliating blow to a man who had once ruled over England. Despite his dire situation, Edward IV remained resolute. In a daring escape that has become the stuff of legend, the king managed to flee Warwick Castle and rally his scattered supporters. He would eventually reclaim his throne in a triumphant return to power, effectively ending the kingmaker's dominance over English politics. The rise and fall of Richard Neville, Earl of Warwick, is one of the most fascinating and enigmatic tales to emerge from the Wars of the Roses. Known as the Kingmaker for his role in orchestrating the rise and fall of kings, Neville's influence over the course of English history is difficult to overstate. The Earl of Warwick's initial support for the Yorkist cause saw him embroiled in the treacherous world of English politics, and his formidable military prowess and vast wealth made him a force to be reckoned with. Yet, despite his initial successes, his ambition and desire for power ultimately led to his downfall. After engineering the deposition of Edward IV, Neville's attempt to place Henry VI back on the throne and establish his own puppet monarch proved short-lived. His alliance with the Lancastrians crumbled, and as Edward IV returned to power, Neville found himself on the losing side of history. His dramatic end came at the Battle of Barnet in 1471. Leading the Lancastrian forces against his former ally Edward IV, Neville met a bloody and ignominious end on the battlefield, his once great influence shattered. Yet, despite his ultimate defeat, the Kingmaker's legacy endures. His Machiavellian manoeuvring, military expertise, and boundless ambition make him one of the most enigmatic and fascinating figures in English history. The reign of Queen Elizabeth I brought a new era of stability and prosperity to England, and Warwick Castle was no exception. During the Elizabethan period, the castle underwent a significant transformation as the emphasis on military fortifications gave way to a focus on comfortable living and refined architecture. Under the stewardship of Ambrose Dudley, the Earl of Warwick and brother of the Queen's favourite, Robert Dudley, the castle experienced a period of significant renovation and expansion. New gardens were designed, residential quarters were modernized, and the castle's defences were updated to incorporate the latest advances in artillery technology. Queen Elizabeth herself visited Warwick Castle in 1572, staying for several days and partaking in lavish feasts and entertainment. Her visit cemented the castle's place in the upper echelons of English society, a symbol of both its illustrious past and its bright future. The Elizabethan era saw Warwick Castle transformed from a military stronghold into a luxurious residence befitting the noble elite of England. Its opulent interiors, ornate gardens, and impressive fortifications made it a shining example of Elizabethan grandeur and architectural innovation. Disaster struck Warwick Castle in the early hours of October 20, 1871. A devastating fire, fuelled by a misplaced candle and the castle's centuries-old timber beams, swept through the building, leaving destruction in its wake. The Inferno claimed much of the castle's magnificent architecture and numerous historical artifacts. The extensive damage wrought by the fire threatened to erase centuries of history in a matter of hours, and for a time the future of the castle seemed uncertain. Yet, as the smoke cleared, a spirit of resilience emerged. Over the next several years, Warwick Castle underwent an ambitious restoration project, spearheaded by the 5th Earl of Warwick, George Greville. He enlisted the services of the renowned architect Anthony Salvin, who painstakingly worked to restore the castle to its former glory, rebuilding the damaged sections and salvaging what could be saved. The restoration process not only rebuilt the castle, but it also introduced modern conveniences such as electricity, plumbing, and heating systems. These upgrades ensured that Warwick Castle would continue to serve as a symbol of the enduring strength and spirit of the English nobility. Despite the devastation of the Great Fire, many of Warwick Castle's hidden treasures and priceless artifacts survived the blaze. These relics, some dating back centuries, offer a glimpse into the castle's storied past and the lives of its illustrious inhabitants. One such treasure is the Warwick vase, an exquisite Roman marble vase discovered in 1770 on the grounds of Emperor Hadrian's villa in Tivoli, Italy. The vase, which features intricate relief carvings of Bacchus, the god of wine, and his attendants, was purchased by the Earl of Warwick in the early 19th century and has been on display in the castle ever since. Another priceless artifact is the Warwick pageant manuscript, a lavishly illustrated and illuminated document dating back to 1487. The manuscript, which details the pageant held in Warwick to celebrate the visit of King Richard III, is a rare and valuable record of medieval life and courtly entertainment. The walls of Warwick Castle are also adorned with an impressive collection of portraits, many of which depict the castle's former inhabitants and the notable figures who have graced its halls over the centuries. Among these portraits are works by renowned artists such as Sir Peter Lely, Sir Joshua Reynolds, and Sir Thomas Lawrence. In addition to these priceless works of art, the castle also houses an extensive collection of armour, weapons, and other military artifacts. These relics, which include examples from the medieval period through the English Civil War, offer a fascinating insight into the development of military technology and the lives of the soldiers who once called Warwick Castle their home. Today, these treasures serve as a testament to the rich history and enduring legacy of Warwick Castle. They offer visitors a glimpse into the lives of the men and women who shaped the course of English history, ensuring that the stories of England's ultimate stronghold are preserved for future generations to discover and appreciate. Warwick Castle, with its dramatic history, stunning architecture, and priceless artifacts, has stood the test of time as a symbol of power, resilience, and the enduring spirit of the English nobility. From its humble beginnings as a wooden fortress to its transformation into a grand Elizabethan residence, the castle has played a central role in the unfolding story of England's past. As we have journeyed through the untold story of England's ultimate stronghold, we have encountered the towering figures who have left their mark on Warwick Castle's storied history. From the ambitious Earls of Warwick, like the kingmaker Richard Neville, to the visionary architects and patrons who transformed the castle into a symbol of wealth and power, each has contributed to the rich tapestry of the castle's past. Warwick Castle, its walls steeped in history and its halls filled with the echoes of the past, serves as a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of the human spirit. As we marvel at its imposing towers and explore its hidden treasures, we are reminded that the stories of Warwick Castle are more than just the stories of the men and women who once called it home. They are the stories of England itself, a living monument to the country's enduring legacy and the timeless pursuit of ambition, power, and glory. The 19th century marked a period of renewed interest in the history and heritage of Warwick Castle as the Victorian fascination with medieval architecture and culture spurred a wave of restoration and renovation projects throughout England. Under the stewardship of the Greville family, who had inherited the title of Earl of Warwick in the mid-18th century, the castle embarked on a new era of revitalization. George Greville, the fourth Earl of Warwick, was a driving force behind this renaissance, with a keen interest in preserving and enhancing the castle's historic charm. His ambitious plans for the restoration and expansion of Warwick Castle would come to fruition under the guidance of his son, the fifth Earl of Warwick, who assumed the title following his father's death in 1853. The younger Earl's tenure marked a period of unprecedented investment in the castle's future, with the extensive restoration efforts led by the eminent architect Anthony Salvin. Salvin was charged with the delicate task of preserving the castle's ancient character while also incorporating the modern conveniences and aesthetic sensibilities of the Victorian era. This ambitious project saw the construction of the new Watergate Tower, an impressive addition to the castle's defences, which included a drawbridge, portcullis, and a magnificent suite of rooms for the Earl's private use. The castle's great hall was also given a fresh lease on life, as Salvin oversaw the restoration of its intricate timber roof and the installation of vibrant stained-glass windows depicting scenes from Warwick's storied past. These efforts not only breathed new life into the castle's ageing architecture, but they also rekindled the public's fascination with the fortress, as visitors flocked to witness the grandeur of England's ultimate stronghold. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, Warwick Castle continued to evolve, reflecting the changing tastes and priorities of the era. The castle's role as a symbol of power and prestige remained undiminished, but its inhabitants began to adapt to the demands of a rapidly modernizing world. The Edwardian period saw the castle transformed once again as new innovations in technology, such as electricity, were integrated into the fabric of the ancient building. These advancements helped ensure that Warwick Castle remained a comfortable and luxurious residence, even as the world outside its walls continued to change. The castle's transformation during this period was not limited to its physical structure. The turn of the century also brought a renewed focus on the castle's cultural heritage, as efforts were made to document and preserve the many treasures and artifacts that had been collected over the centuries. Prominent figures from the worlds of art, history, and archaeology were enlisted to catalogue and study the castle's vast collections, ensuring that its rich legacy would not be lost to the passage of time. His commitment to the preservation of Warwick Castle's storied past helped cement its status as a living monument to the history and heritage of England. The tumultuous events of the 20th century presented new challenges for Warwick Castle as it navigated the uncertainty and upheaval of 2 world wars and the decline of the British aristocracy. Despite these trials, the castle's enduring spirit and its ability to adapt and evolve ensured that it will continue to play a role in the ongoing story of England. During World War I, Warwick Castle opened its doors to wounded soldiers, serving as a convalescent home and providing a sanctuary for those recovering from the horrors of the battlefield. The castle's inhabitants, like so many others across the country, were deeply affected by the tragedy and sacrifice of the conflict, and their efforts to aid the war effort helped solidify the castle's place in the hearts of the nation. The interwar years saw a period of decline for many of Britain's stately homes, as the costs of maintaining these grand estates became increasingly prohibitive. Warwick Castle, however, managed to weather these challenges, thanks in part to the entrepreneurial spirit of its inhabitants and the enduring appeal of its historic legacy. During World War II, the castle was once again called upon to serve the nation, as it was requisitioned by the military for use as a secret communications centre. Its imposing walls and strategic location made it an ideal choice for this vital role, and it continued to play a part in the war effort until the conflict's end. In the post-war years, the castle faced new challenges as the realities of a rapidly changing world forced its inhabitants to adapt to new ways of life. Yet, as it had done so many times before, Warwick Castle found a way to endure and thrive, embracing its role as a symbol of England's past and a testament to the resilience of its people. In the present day, Warwick Castle has embraced its role as a living museum, showcasing its rich history and captivating stories to visitors from around the world. As a popular tourist destination, the castle has found new life, drawing on its storied past and the power of its enduring legacy to capture the imaginations of all who pass through its gates. Warwick Castle has also become a hub for educational and cultural events, hosting a diverse array of activities and programs designed to immerse visitors in the world of medieval England. From thrilling jousting tournaments and dramatic reenactments of historic battles to interactive exhibitions and workshops that bring the castle's history to life, there is something to delight and inspire everyone who visits this remarkable stronghold. As the castle continues to write new chapters in its storied history, it stands as a testament to the power of human ingenuity, resilience, and ambition. Its walls, steeped in history and imbued with the memories of those who once walked its halls, continue to bear witness to the unfolding story of England and its people. As we look to the future of Warwick Castle, it is impossible not to marvel at the remarkable journey that has brought this storied fortress to its present day. From its humble beginnings to its transformation into a grand and imposing stone stronghold, the castle has evolved and endured through centuries of change and upheaval. While the challenges facing Warwick Castle in the future may be different from those it has faced in the past, the enduring spirit and adaptability that have defined its history will undoubtedly continue to shape its future. As new generations are introduced to the fascinating stories and timeless lessons that can be found within its walls, the castle's role as a living monument to the history and heritage of England will be preserved and celebrated. Warwick Castle will undoubtedly continue to be a source of inspiration and wonder for visitors, scholars, and history enthusiasts alike as it weaves new stories and memories into the rich tapestry of its past. As we reflect on the remarkable legacy of England's ultimate stronghold, we are reminded of the power of human ambition, resilience and ingenuity, and the enduring spirit that has allowed this ancient fortress to stand the test of time. In closing, the story of Warwick Castle serves as a beacon of inspiration and a testament to the enduring allure of history. As we continue to explore the hidden treasures and untold stories of this remarkable fortress, we are reminded that the past is not a distant memory, but a living and breathing part of our present. So, as we leave the hallowed halls of Warwick Castle, let us carry with us the lessons and stories of its remarkable past. And let us embrace the spirit of those who once called it home, as we, too, forge our own legacies and continue to write the never-ending story of our shared history. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the untold story of Warwick Castle, England's ultimate stronghold. We hope you have enjoyed discovering the rich history and hidden treasures of this iconic fortress, and that the spirit of its storied past will continue to inspire and captivate you for years to come. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Saving Castles podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll continue to explore the fascinating world of castles and chateaux. Don't miss out and subscribe to our podcast to get notified when new episodes are released. For more information about us and our work, visit savingcastles.com. Thank you for listening.